As the hater wraps up his trip to Sao Paulo, the hater could take the easy way out and not make any videos until I'm back and then go ham like I plan on doing. Or the hater could do what he does, and that is a video a day, basically every day. Cuckstis? Now today's video is a very special one, if I do say so myself, you know what I'm saying? The hater's out there reading some news, you know what I mean? I'm working all day like a slave even though I'm here on vacation, and I read some news. Ric Flair criticizes the WWE and criticizes Triple H by extension of that. And the hater thinks to himself, well, of course he does. Look at this shit, right? And then Ric Flair says something that, quite frankly, I hadn't even thought of before, right? Like, things have gotten so bad that things that should make perfect sense no longer do. So we find ourselves not even noticing some of the criminal mistakes that are being made by the likes of Triple Cuck and the WWC, obviously known as the World Wrestling Cuckoldry, all right? So the thing that Ric Flair points to, obviously he plugs his dumbass daughter in there as well, but he basically says that the only one that's like Charlotte, meaning that they can actually do their fucking job, is Randy Orton, right? And it got me thinking, wait a second, Rick, you know what I'm saying? Randy Orton hasn't done shit for like 2.5 years. This face run of Randy Orton is one of the worst runs ever, right? It's easily the worst Randy Orton run. Like, I mean, remember Hoodie Randy Orton? Where he joined like the Wyatt family? What the fuck was that all about? Why did he start wearing a hoodie for no reason? And he probably thought it was badass, whatever. Hoodie Randy Orton was better than this Randy Orton. This Randy Orton is basically a tame, a eunuch version of Randy Orton. For those that are in the back, I didn't say unique, I said eunuch, meaning that he has no balls, you understand me? Now here's how this works, right? Randy Orton obviously is better off as a heel, but I understand that people cannot always be heels. Sometimes you need faces to balance out the heels. But here's the problem. Randy Orton is out there feuding with mid-carders, and he's been doing so for like 4 or 5 years now at this point, right? Randy Orton isn't even that old. Randy Orton is in his 40s, like he's younger than Cena. Now, I know Randy Orton is going to get another title run at some point. He's Randy Orton at the end of the day. But let's think about this for a second, right? It's not as if like the WWE is rife with like real main eventers, with real people that could be champion, right? In fact, it's the exact opposite. Like Randy Orton had title runs when the company had people like Batista, Edge, Cena, fucking The Undertaker player, you know what I mean? Kane, Rey Mysterio in somewhat of his prime, you know? And people like Cody Rhodes were out there jobbing to Tensai on Sunday Night Heat, like the pre-show version of Sunday Night Heat, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden now nothing's changed. It's not like Cody's gotten better and Randy Orton's gotten worse. They're both the same thing. If anything, Orton is like 50 pounds heavier of muscle. He's more believable now than he always was. Like, remember when Orton would wrestle like The Undertaker? And it'd be like, the story would be like Orton needs to like pick his spots and like hit the RKO if he gets a chance because Undertaker's just superior to him physically. Now that would no longer be the case. Like, and if you look at like people like The Rock and Batista now, like they're obviously like doing something, you know, and they're like, they've lost all this weight. It's like Orton would like completely destroy these guys. Like Batista and The Rock are now like old men, you know? Like Orton is like bigger and stronger than them. Can you believe that shit? Orton, who was like, you know, for a while he was, you would say like a light heavyweight, you know what I mean? Like, you know, by yesterday's standards. By today's standards, he's like bigger than the Big Show, but you understand what I'm getting at here, right? Orton is, I hate to say it, but it's true. He's in the physical prime of his career, right? It's not like Orton had these flashy matches. He can still do literally every move he used to do. Now it's just more believable because he's 275 pounds instead of being 215 pounds, right? And despite all this, like just think about what I'm saying. Like Orton, the Randy Orton, that motherfucker that debuted like 20 years ago, this guy is better than everyone right now. You know? I never thought Orton was the best guy on the roster ever until now. And now he's getting no opportunities. Now he's out there teaming with Jelly Roll, feuding with mid-card nobodies. You know? He's out there losing to Logan Paul, which I understand, and losing to Kevin Owens. Like he's having a serious feud with Kevin Owens. Like, here's how the feud between Randy Orton and Kevin Owens should go. Kevin Owens steps up to him, Orton just headbutts him, goes back, punts him in the head, Owens is out for 2 years. That's how the feud should go. The beginning, the middle, and the end of the feud is just that one segment. And then Kevin Owens comes back, and reevaluates his career and goes after like Sami Zayn or Karrion Kross or Otis or someone of his caliber, you know? Randy Orton is not only a legend, but he's objectively one of the best guys they have on the roster. He's got the best look. He's the most attractive. He probably sells the most merch or clothes. He's an icon at this point, right? And he can get it done. He can have a good match with anybody. But why push him, motherfucks? Why push him when Bronson Reed needs TV time? Have you people lost your fucking minds? Like, here's what I would do with Randy Orton. One day, Randy Orton is in the ring, the Wyatt Six go and attack him. He RKOs all of them, including Nikki Cross, and punts them all in the head. Then they get released, and he says, now that I'm finally done with this Wyatt bullshit, because, you know, Orton has pretty much, like, the entire story of Bray Wyatt is like, he's like this threatening guy, and he fucks around with people. They always beat his ass, but he never, like, changes his ways, right? He's still, like, does the same shit to somebody else, gets his ass beat. Then, periodically, he comes across Randy Orton, who doesn't give a fuck. That's why Randy Orton is one of the best written characters of all time. Because the idea behind Randy Orton when he was wrestling the Wyatts in like one of his primes, right? Not the one where he joined, but I'm talking about when he like fought the Fiend and shit. The idea was that like, you know, the Fiend and Bray Wyatt, like they're these weirdos, you know, that are scary, but like no person is scarier than heel Randy Orton. Like heel Randy Orton will fucking burn you alive, literally. You know what I mean? And he's like, and it's juxtaposed with the fact that he looks the way he does. He doesn't look like a retard in a mask. He looks like someone that like he looks like a psychopath. When he was bald, you know, you're like, shit, this guy would burn you alive, you know, and not give a fuck. That's exactly what he did to Bray Wyatt like several times. Like Bray Wyatt would be like, oh, I'm scared. Randy Orton would be like, I don't give a fuck. Punt out for like a year and a half. You know what I mean? That was great. What happened to that Randy Orton? Now we have an asshole who comes out looking better than he ever did, and he looking like 50 pounds more, motherfucks, and he's out there feuding with the likes of Sami Zayn, like that level of wrestler, and saying dumb shit like, I'll introduce you to the 3 most destructive letters of the alphabet. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Just fucking spit in someone's face and then punt their dad. You know what I mean? That's what I want to see Randy Orton do. You know, he should be out there punting like IRS. He should be out there punting Sami Zayn's dad. He should be doing Randy Orton shit. Ric Flair is 100% right. But Randy Orton is being treated like he's washed. He's being treated like he's like Billy Gunn in AEW, you know what I mean? Billy Gunn's like he's like 60, motherfucks. Randy Orton is like 16 years younger than him. Randy Orton's got a long way to go. If Randy Orton decides to stay for another 10 years, which is very possible, right? Randy Orton deserves multiple world title runs. Or, alternatively, again, I'm not the biggest Orton fan, you know? But if you have someone better, be my guest, motherfucks. Like, if you want to push Braun Breaker and you want to have him squash Randy Orton, hey, I can get behind that. You know, not as Seth Rollins' lackey, but on his way to the top, go ahead. You know, I don't give a shit. Like, Randy Orton has had his moments. He can squash Cena for all I care, too. You can bring back Goldberg and The Undertaker. You can squash them both, if that's what it takes to make him into a star. But instead, what they're doing is they're hanging their hat on these, like, Seth Rollins types. These almost 40-year-olds. Like, Seth Rollins is only, like, 6-7 years younger than Orton, which I understand is a long time. But think about what Orton has accomplished and what Rollins has accomplished. You know? They're not the same character. Like, Randy Orton would still beat his ass in real life. You know what I mean? And these things have to matter. I understand, I get it, you know? They're thinking like, all right, we can have Seth Rollins here for, you know, maybe a good 10 years, and Orton maybe we have for another 5 years. But you never know, motherfucks. Who the fuck would have thought that Lashley and Shelton Benjamin would still be around? You know? They're both, like, Shelton Benjamin has to be 50, you know? Lashley's almost 50. You know, they're still going. If people knew that Lashley was going to stick around for 50 years, you know, or until he's 50, they never would have let him go when he was in ECW. They would have been like, no, we're going to put everything on you if we know you're going to stick around this long. Shelton Benjamin, too, would have probably had like a world title run or two if they knew back then that he'd be around for another 20 years. Yeah? Instead, what they did was they wasted their time on younger talent. But now, they're not even doing that. Now it's like, you know, LA Knight, Jey Uso, CM Punk, Seth Rollins. He's like 3 of these guys are in their 40s, and the 4th one's almost 40. Where are the young guys? If you're going to give me people in their 40s, just give me Orton, right? Like, if Jey Uso is 40 and Orton is 44 or whatever, right? I'd rather take Orton, you know? Orton would beat his ass in real life. Orton is a more decorated wrestler. He has more moves. He's more charismatic. He's better than Jey Uso at everything in life, you know? But for some reason, Jey Uso gets the world title run. Fine, give it to him. But have Randy Orton get one too, motherfucks. Like, this world heavyweight title has 0 prestige because it's being held almost exclusively by mid-level jobbers like Gunther and Jey Uso. Gunther, by the way, hasn't been seen since he got his ass whooped the last time. Gunther is not at that level yet where he gets his ass beat and doesn't show up for a month. It's Gunther. He should be there the next day. He's like on a Mr. Anderson, Mr. Kennedy type situation. Be there the next day, start putting in the work, motherfucker. Orton, on the other hand, is there. I mean, I know he's like on and off, but that's because he's feuding with like Sami Zayn and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, are you kidding me? Orton comes back and his thunder is stolen by like probably the older CM Punk. Like, why is CM Punk in a better position than Orton? You know what I mean? Like, when it's all said and done, who are people gonna think of more fondly? Orton or CM Punk? You tell me, motherfuckers. You tell me. Are people more excited to see Randy Orton or CM Punk? Well, maybe they're more excited to see CM Punk because CM Punk is being put in the main event and Orton is being forced to team with Jelly Roll. Same thing, you can say the same thing with Drew McIntyre, except obviously at a much lower level. Drew McIntyre is not Randy Orton. When Randy Orton was world champion, Drew McIntyre was feuding with like fucking Damien Sandow. You know what I mean? He was feuding with jobbers. Remember Damien Sandow, by the way? Like, that's like the first Karrion Kross. The first time when everyone was like, this guy's gonna be the future, and I'm like, no, he's not. This guy's gonna be a massive jobber. Like, I told all my friends, they're like, this guy's gonna main event WrestleMania. I'm like, this guy will never make it to WrestleMania. This guy sucks. This guy sucks, motherfucks. Same shit, Karrion Kross. Same shit, motherfucks. Same shit, Obafemi. Same shit's gonna happen. How many times does the hater have to be validated? How many times does Ric Flair have to be validated? Like, think about what Ric Flair is saying. He's saying, dumb fucks. You have Randy Orton in your roster. You have him in a contract. You can have him wrestle. Have him wrestle, dumbasses. Have him wrestle. Nobody in God's green earth, as The Rock would say, nobody is interested in seeing Ludwig Kaiser dressed as El Grande Americano wrestling Mr. Iguana. Here's how I would book it. You have a match. It's El Grande Americano. Fuck it. It's all three El Grande Americanos against a team of like fucking Mr. Iguana, like Psycho Clown or whatever the fuck his name is, and Vikingo. And in the middle of the match, Orton comes in, RKOs everybody, punts everybody. Everyone just gets shipped off to fucking Triple A, and Orton says, I'm back, motherfucks. That's the purpose of these three jobbers and the other three jobbers from Triple A. The purpose of them is for a real man like Randy Orton to come and put them in their place. But no, why do that? I didn't sign up to fucking watch Triple A, but periodically they're like, oh, it's now like Mr. Iguana is gonna wrestle Finn Balor. Like, nobody wants to fucking see that shit. Nobody wants to see Finn Balor, and nobody wants to see Mr. Iguana. You have to turn yourself retarded to enjoy Mr. Iguana. Oh, La Yeska. La Yeska? Kane should come out with a mask and just chokeslam La Yeska and Mr. Iguana through a fiery table. That's what I want to see. Nobody wants to see a fucking retard with a puppet. Oh, Mr. Iguana. Are you? That shit might fly in Mexico where all you have to do is draw 11 people. It doesn't fly in the States, in the WWE. Enough of this, man. Enough of these mediocrities just coming on TV. Meanwhile, on NXT, you got them like basically they're TNA now. TNA is NXT, NXT's TNA. It's like, oh, it's Obafemi versus like Zachary Wentz. What the fuck? How is this guy ever going to be taken seriously as a star if he's having like a 15-minute match against Wesley? Obafemi should like grab Wesley by the throat, powerbomb him 3 times, put his foot over him, and that should be the end of that. If you ever want this guy to be taken seriously. But nowadays, the level of WWE wrestlers is so low that even Finn Balor, right, a former world champion, another Karrion Kross type motherfucker, right, another guy that we were told was going to be this world beater. This guy now has to have competitive matches against Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee, who is lucky to have a job. Dragon Lee, who does absolutely nothing for this company and who doesn't attract one fan to the events. Finn Balor's having like a 15-minute match with this guy. Finn Balor's the same guy that beat Lashley at WrestleMania and Seth Rollins. And now he's out there having trouble against Dragon Lee. Against Dragon Lee, motherfucks. Dragon Lee's the kind of guy that would come out on a silver platter to wrestle like, I don't know, Headbanger Mosh. Once Headbanger Mosh did like a fucking favor for McMahon or something. That's the purpose of people like Dragon Lee. But in this whole circle jerk, forget about Finn Balor, we've got Randy Orton here. They need to completely reestablish a hierarchy in the WWE, and the hierarchy needs to start with people like Randy Orton on top. Because clearly he's the best one they got. Then after that, you could put Drew McIntyre. Then after that, I don't know. After that, you're fucked. After that, you better pick like, I don't know, JD McDonough. I don't give a shit. After that, everyone sucks. It's time to bring some new guys. Maybe bring in Trick Williams. Maybe bring in Obafemi. I mean, they can't do any worse. Like, why is Mr. Iguana on the main roster? Why is Vikingo on the main roster? but Obafemi is stuck in NXT and TNA. Why? Bring up some people that have a chance to become somebody. And if you're not going to do that, because I know, sure as shit, you're not sending Randy Orton to Triple A, right? They're going to have to pay like $1 million for that shit. And Triple A will have like the biggest attendance they've ever had in their fucking miserable entire enterprise. You know, you're not putting Randy Orton in there, so what are you going to do with him? Periodically have him come out and shake hands with Jelly Roll? Where's the follow-through? Where's Cody, motherfucks? None of these fucks show up. And it's fine. Cody Rhodes sucks. He's doing this podcast. Oh, it's Cody Rhodes versus interviewing The Undertaker. That's what I want to see. One of the greatest wrestlers of all time being interviewed by a pre-show jobber. Get the fuck out of here, man. Put Randy Orton in there, you dumb fucks. Listen to the hater. Listen to Ric Flair. And more importantly, go fuck yourselves up the ass, punk bitches.